Hey guys, welcome back. The new subject that we're going to be covering right now is going to be compaction grouting. Okay, so compaction grouting. So grouting is the process of basically like shooting a concrete cement grout, cementitious grout, cement sand slurry, or other approved alternative as they call it, and injecting it basically in liquid form into the soil. This can also be done for chemical grouting. It can be done with a structural polyurethane, but the basic process is called compaction grouting. So the idea, as we talked about, if you've got a house, right, and it's sitting on soil, and the soil is too weak, let's just call it in this area, and this could be due to a plumbing leak, which went for a long period of time, which eroded the soils out. If you don't know what erosion is, check out the last video. If you don't know what the causes of failure are, check out one of those last videos, causes of failure. So once again, like 90% of everything that involves foundation movement failures has little to do with the foundation itself. It's the soil below it. So if the soil is too weak, whether it was improperly compacted, if it vibrated over a period of time via earthquakes or heavy construction traffic, and so it consolidated and settled downward, the soil went downward, right? So therefore the house above went downward because the soil is no longer strong enough to support the structure on top, in this case a house. So what the idea is for compaction grouting is to inject a substance. Again, it could be a concrete, cementitious grout, cement sand slurry, anything like that. Inject a substance into the soil from the surface. They drive these rods down, they'll core holes, 1, 2. So if you're injecting like traditional methods, a cementitious grout or something like that, this can be 2 3/4 of an inch to 3 3/4 of an inch in size. One of the major advantages to using a structural polyurethane is that the sizes of the holes that you drill into the slab or on the top surface level are only about the size of a penny, or about 5/8 of an inch. So you inject this thing into the soil. Now, if I inject into the soil, so let's say there's a void space like we talked about last time, and let's even make it a continuous void that goes down, and everything else is supported, right? So you've got a void here and a void down here. So they'll inject from the surface level, maybe 2 holes, and the idea of the injections is to fill this area, which is our void space, and the veins that are all connected to it, right? Fill all of that up with something strong enough to support the structure. And so a cement grout is injected under a higher pressure to force this liquid concrete into the ground to fill the voids. And under a high enough pressure, once all of these voids are filled, what it starts to do is push outward, right? Let me erase all that real quick, Matt. So it goes into the ground, right? And then it starts to push outward. And by going outward like that, it compacts or strengthens all of the surrounding soil and eventually creates an upward force to help facilitate lifting on the structure above, right? So that's the whole idea of compaction grouting and how it works. Now, I personally, just me, I am not a fan of compaction grouting using a cementitious grout. The reason why, concrete is very, very, very heavy. I spent 15 years of my life as a engineering manager and other various roles at a company that deals with foundation repair technology like this, and time again, we've gone back and what we've seen is, let's say we can do this in layers, all right? Let's just do this in layers real quick. So you've got your house, you've got your soil, and let's say you've got your bad soil zone here, and we'll call it, I don't know, 6 feet. 6 feet deep. So the soil here is not strong enough. It got super weak. Your house is pushing downward by, let's say, 13 kips. That's 13,000 pounds. And this will only support, let's say, 8. So 13,000 pounds of downward force, 8,000 pounds of support doesn't work, right? So the house will begin to settle. The soil below that, all the way down to bedrock, will say supports, I don't know, 20 kips for the fun of it. Nope, too much. Let's just say that does it. 14 kips. I'm throwing numbers out here, guys. That's all I'm doing. I'm throwing numbers out. And then the soil below that can be bedrock. Doesn't matter how deep it goes. And then we'll call this, I don't know, another 12 feet. Okay, so here's the conditions. 13,000 pounds downward, 6 feet will only support 8,000 pounds, 12 feet will support 14,000 pounds. So this here will support 13,000 pounds, right? So what they do with concrete is they inject and they fill all the void space in here and they make it strong enough. It's super, super, super strong. They make it, I don't know, 16 kips. Hey, there's all that strength now, right? 16 kips will support 13 kips, you're good. But what happened is you added somewhere between 120 to 145 pounds of per cubic foot of weight into the soil. So now instead of 13 kips of the house pushing down, now you've got 20 kips, which is not supported by your 16 kips. But guess what? This 14 that was below the 8, that doesn't support the 20 either. So now the house continues to settle, and this settles, and this settles, and it's just a nightmare, right? So you inject the concrete, you add between 120 to 145 pounds per cubic foot of weight. When you inject a polymer, a structural polyurethane, you only add between 4 and 20 pounds per cubic foot of weight, right? Foot cube. So that's another big plus that I like about it. There's a whole lot of other things that I can talk about with structural polyurethane. It's because I work with it the most and I have for a long time. But what I point out for this video is that the most failures that I've seen, especially in compaction grouting, have to deal with using concrete or a cementitious grout while you do it. That's the key takeaway. And this doesn't have to be a house. This could be a warehouse, a factory. It could be a railroad. It could be a million things, okay, that you apply this to. But once again, we're sticking strictly to just residential homes right now. So 2 other notes. First of all, there's some dude running around in Southern California saying that structural polyurethane causes cancer or poses some sort of a health risk. And all I'll say is tisk, tisk, tisk. You should not be lying to your clients in order to get business. The stuff is environmentally neutral. It poses just about 0 health hazard whatsoever. We've got several toxicity reports and how the polymer handles salmonids and fish and wildlife, and there's been continuous testing on this stuff for like 35 years. All right, it's not toxic at all, so shame on that guy. Other thing I wanted to say, you'll notice the shirt today, Strength and Honor, Team Freighter. If you guys are ever out in the Upland area, off of Foothill and campus, this is just a shout out to his gym. It's a mixed martial arts gym. He was my coach. He's known me since I was like 9 years old. I've done Kung Fu Sansu for like 25 years. I've done Jiu-Jitsu for probably 15 years at this point. I had a little over 30 MMA fights. Like, I had a really, really good time learning not just how to fight, but all of the important things that a traditional martial arts studio would give you instruction on. So check him out if you're ever in the area. Great, great, great team. Phenomenal instructor. Highly recommended. One more time, guys, thank you so much. Click like, subscribe, comment thing, whatever. Whatever the social media thing is. Like, share. That's the other one. Share. Go ahead and do that. Thank you so much for your time, and I will chat with you guys later.